Look at this. I got headphones on. I got a mic going. Baby. Huh?
If only people could see you now.
Hey, no video. We've gone through this before.
All right,
no
all
video.
right. Welcome to This Commerce Life. This is a podcast aimed at small, medium entrepreneurs focused on commerce. I'm Phil, your host, and Kenny, your co-host, will join us as well. And we're going to talk to you about the world of retail and commerce and how things are changing in the world. Why, hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Really good. Yeah.
Mike figured out here.
Guys.
You too.
Yeah. Nice to see you both. We just we've been working like we just finished work, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Ran from the facility back to the house.
Yeah.
No way. Thanks for doing
They
that.
should have just texted us and told us to give us a minute.
Yeah.
That's right.
Then we would just keep going.
I know.
You got to call it.
That's true too. If you don't call it, you won't call it.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I guess that's true too.
Yeah.
We suffer from the same afflictions, actually.
Yeah.
Both of us are like, no, that's the last day. I'm taking some time off. And then what are you doing? I'm working. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? I don't know. I guess I can't help myself. It's just
Because you like working.
There are
Yeah,
things
yeah.
to be done.
There's
yeah.
too many things to be done.
Yeah. Now there's worse things you could be doing.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right.
Sometimes you feel like that in the moment when you're scrubbing floors, but
Yeah, maybe not that moment. Yeah, I can see that. No,
Not that moment, maybe.
No.
All the other moments.
but there are other moments where you kind of think, I mean, I could be doing that. I could be doing
That's the
anything else.
moment where you go, no, this job, I'm as soon as we can afford it, this job goes away. Somebody else does this job.
I think there's like moments in every aspect of the business where you're like, I never want to do this. If I don't have to do this, I'm not going to do this. Like whether it's like hiring people, firing people, just dealing with the ins and
people,
outs.
that's the hardest one because you're really
HR, I know.
HR takes a ton of time.
It's crazy.
Oh.
A ton of time.
Especially when there's nobody who wants to work.
Oh, you're finding that we'll talk about it, I guess, in a second. Same
Yeah.
problem though, right? It's
Across the board.
Yeah,
it's pretty shitty out there. Like I don't get it though. I don't know where these, like, they were all working before. Where do they go?
I think a lot of people have gotten used to a shortened work week. I think
Maybe.
I think COVID has made them realize that they don't need to work full time or that they can work part-time from home and that
You kind of change your budget. You
Mhm.
change your perspective a little bit. I don't know. It seems that way anyway.
I mean,
Maybe it's not a bad thing though then at the end, right? I mean, it's just hard for us in business to work around that at the beginning. Like once you get going, I mean, if this is gonna be the new norm, then we'll just have to figure it out. And maybe
I think from a lifestyle perspective, it's good. Like if someone, like if a young person says, hey, I'm going to just buy more clothes at a thrift shop and just watch my budget and spend less so that I can have an extra day a week for other pursuits. Like,
I mean,
that's
what the hell, right?
a good thing. Why
Yeah.
not? But for an employer, it's tough. It's like, I just need somebody to get the job done.
Yeah.
or just to come in at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
But we're finding that in all aspects, right?
Yeah.
I mean, service industry for sure.
Yeah.
But anything even fueling the service industry. I mean, deliveries, find drivers,
Oh yeah.
And that's what we're looking
find warehouse people.
for. Yeah, we're looking for someone to do deliveries. It's
Good luck.
I know.
Yeah, it's really, really tough.
Oh, it
It's
is. I
really
had
tough.
someone lined up for an interview today and he sounded great. And I was really excited because you don't often have a phone call where you're like, okay, this guy actually sounds really good.
Yeah.
And of course he was scooped up within like a couple hours. He's like, sorry, I took another job. He didn't even come in for the interview. I was like,
Shit,
About
right?
4 hours later.
thanks, I know.
But I mean, again, and you can't knock them because they're in a spot. If you're good and you're
Yeah.
capable, there's
Well, the opportunity's there, right?
absolutely.
don't
So I
blame
mean,
them.
why you take advantage of it, right?
Yeah.
But it's
It's-
definitely hard.
It's funny. I'm mentoring this one guy. I've known him forever and ever, and his nephew is he graduated with a marketing degree, hasn't landed a job yet, right? And so he said, listen, I'm an engineer. I have no idea. Can you help my nephew? So I've been helping him, and he's been to 3 marketing interviews, and at the end of it they said, no, you're too junior, we can't, we don't have room for your skills, but if you want to come on as a driver or in the warehouse, like you're hired now, right? And so he the first time that happened to him, he was really like, he was upset about it, right? Because he, like, you know, he's young, he has no idea, right? So, and he was like, it's like they don't give a crap, right? Like, it's like they don't care that I have all these marketing skills. And so finally, after the second interview, I said to him, listen, I need, you know, marketing will always be there and there'll always be marketing jobs. I'm just saying, like, right now, if you need the work, like,
Take the
people,
job,
you know,
man.
like, are you a decent driver? Like, and he's like, yeah, I drive. Well, I'm just saying, you could make probably a lot of money.
He's going to make more driving than he's going to make marketing.
That's what I was saying to him, right? I was like, I don't think any of these guys were dissing your skills. I just think right now they can find marketers, but they can't find people to drive, and they can't find responsible people to work in warehouses or logistics type jobs, right? Like, so
There's also grants available for digital interns, and those fill up, and there's only so many available.
Exactly.
So wait till they.
But you know what it's like when they're young, you know, you come out, you got your degree, and you're thinking, you know, well, the world's kind of not owes me, but the world sort of owes me. You know, I got a degree. And you're thinking, well, you got keys, you can drive.
Yeah.
I had friends, you know, who went to school and they just expected to get a job right out of in their field right after they graduated, but they had no previous work experience.
So how do you get a job? I mean, what do we want to do with you?
That's the hard part. Like,
I feel like the expectations are way too high. It's like you need to actually experience life and know how to work hard before someone's going to take you on in a world that is so multifaceted.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
It's a hard way to look at harsh.
But as an employer now, like, I mean, we're happy to have people that are super junior and they're just learning, and you work with them and they're growing. But now, like, on the other side, we realize, like, you haven't learned how to clean a sink. You haven't learned how to, you know, stack a box, like just simple things that maybe you don't use those when you're in marketing, but sometimes you do, because you have spatial awareness and you kind of think about what the other guy's doing and just having some.
Yeah.
You got time to think in those jobs too. I mean, seriously, cleaning the sink is not against. I mean, how bad the sink is, but it's typically it's not the worst thing you could be doing. When I was going to university, I janitored at Pacific Center for 3 years.
Sure.
On the weekends and summers during the day. I mean, I was on my hands and knees scrubbing the bottom, the brass on the bottom of the runs in the TD Tower. Who gives a shit? It was a job. I didn't care.
Yeah, it's just a job.
And you learned hard work, and I'm sure your employee appreciated that you were there for 3 years doing that job.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I mean, I was going to university. What do I care? I was getting paid relatively well. I was living in the city. I was from Trail. That means I didn't have to move back because I could live here. So I'm thinking, I mean, honestly, a lot worse things I could do. I picked in a warehouse and whatever.
It's us too, right? Like I don't know. Like, my kid just went to university, and we were worried about the COVID stuff. So we invested in a condo that he can live in. Right. And I said to him, when he moved in, I said, this is nicer than our first house. Right.
Exactly.
Like,
and this isn't normal, by the way. Nobody did this.
No, like we didn't have 2 pennies to rub on. Like, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, and I, like, we went away and my wife was like, oh gosh, I hope he's going to be okay. I'm like, are you
kidding?
Are you kidding? Like, I think, like, we moved into our first house and we had milk crates, you know, like we used milk,
coffee cans for the beds, like, and whatever, right?
The boy was like, he had a futon and he was like, oh, it's really low. So I flipped over a couple of milk crates and he's like, hey, that's a great idea. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, do you know how many things you can build out of milk crates? Like, when you're poor, like, you figure this crap out, right?
Holds
like,
albums, books, you can put stereo equipment on top of it, cinder blocks, and plywood.
Who needs IKEA? You put those things sideways, you could store records underneath your bed. Like, it's like amazing, right? It's like, you know, but
my parents, I remember as a kid, actually, their bed was stacked up on the stack of Geographic magazines. Once you believe for 10 years of National Geographic.
But that's what you did with all that stuff, right? The problem is that but these are all our kids, right? Because my kids are, the kids applying are my kids' age, 24, 25. But the reason they are the way they are is because that's what we raised. When you raise them to not to, so you set expectations that are not attainable, or you never let your kids sort of fall down, scrape a knee, or, learn that the world doesn't come to you. You have to go to the world at times. You work at it. You get an entitled group of young people. Not all of them. There's a lot of really good kids out there, but you do get a whole bunch. And as soon as you don't get the job, the parents phoning, you're thinking, like, you're kidding, right? Kid's 25, man. Like, go find something else to do.
Yeah, we've had a few parents call.
And you're wondering why the kid's a problem.
I find it interesting when the parent applies and then the child still lives at home and the parent's going to drive them to work. They don't have a car.
What?
It sounds like you want your kid out of the house, but your kid doesn't want the job.
Exactly. It's not working for you, is it?
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
We always do this, but we should introduce you guys.
Well, it's 12 minutes.
So
in, right?
so we have Shoshauna and Will on with us, and is it Shoshauna and Will Routley?
Yes,
right.
it is.
Okay. And they run, let me see if I can get this right. So you guys run Functional Beverage Group. And we're pretty stoked to talk to you guys. So we met you because John Tividar, I guess, saw one of my posts, right? And he was like, you got to talk to Will and Shoshauna. And we said, okay, yeah, cool. Like, send us some stuff and we'll check it out. And your story is just fantastic. So we are so glad that you can join us today. We're looking forward to chatting with you guys.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is fun. I like this. It's a good banter back and forth.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We this is kind of us. Like we
This is pretty much us.
Yeah.
like all of that work that was about all the prep that we really do for any of this stuff. But I guess we do have a bit of a method. We'd love to hear a bit about your story, where you guys come from, what you did, and then how you got to where you are now. That's kind of what we'd love to be able to do. And then, we're kind of curious guys, so we'll
just ask a bunch of questions. And you can ask questions too if you want, whatever.
Yeah. And then
It's your show.
goes. Yeah.
The hour is
Yeah.
yours, except for the 15 minutes we burned right on already. But the next 45 minutes is yours.
So welcome to the show. We'd love to hear a little bit more. If you guys have some, you can start anywhere you want. We would, pick a spot and go.
Well, I mean, I guess how many years we've been married or common law together?
Almost 17 years.
Okay.
A while.
So yeah, it's been a
Wow.
while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So I mean, I guess let's start at the beginning. We're a partnership in life. So, a friend that was a teammate of mine racing on a club cycling team, Marsh, he was Show's buddy in high school, and he made the introduction. That's where it began.
Yeah, we met at a lovely restaurant
Wow.
Yeah.
once upon a time.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, we met, and my friend Marsh was a cyclist. They were both on the same team, and Will and I started dating, and we started riding a bit more. I started riding. I really didn't ride a bike that much. Marsh got me a Kuahara, his old 80s bike, and I went on a couple rides with him and his sister. And then when I met Will, we started riding a lot more, and we did our first road tour in Australia. I got my feet wet.
What were we dating for like 6 months or something like that? And we're like, let's go to Australia for the winter.
Oh yeah, my parents were like, so you guys just met and you're gonna go to Australia for 3 months? We're like, all right.
You're gonna kill each other. It's not gonna work.
In the back of their mind, they're like, oh yeah, this will be good life
This is a
experience.
test.
Like,
It's a good test.
Yeah.
If they come back
pick you
alive,
up in a month or
there's
so.
odds.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course we thought we would do some cycle touring. So you pull a little trailer behind your bike and you ride like 50K in the blistering heat in Australia. And Show had done, I don't know, all of like 20 bike rides in her life. And of course me, I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. It's only 150K.
Yeah.
We'll go around. And she didn't complain. She did it and we had a blast.
Well, he picked the right person, because I was all for it, especially when you're riding inland in Australia and it feels like there's a hairdryer in your face.
Oh my gosh.
As you're cycling.
I'm trying to find the appeal in that.
When you put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, if that's a sell job, that is not going to work.
You know what though? I am that idiot. Like I joke about it, but then as soon as you throw me on a bike, or I'm pretty much game for any punishment like that. I'd be like, yeah, this isn't so bad. What's the big deal? Kenny would be like, no, I'm out. Like I'll see you at the end.
I don't mind doing
I
mind doing the light rain in that heat.
I got the car with the air conditioning on. I'll see
Just
you
pick
at the
me up.
end.
I don't know, maybe we've forgotten that like there's these modern conveniences. Like once you start, you're like, well, there's no way to get to the finish but just suffer.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
away you go.
What else are you going to do once you start it? What do you or you stop and just wait for someone to pick you up?
Yeah.
And typically, if it's only the two of you, just really nobody picking you up.
No, that's true.
And at the end of the day, it just, you have to have the personality type to do it, but I really enjoyed it. We both really enjoy to suffer To live
Yeah.
is to suffer.
Yeah. That's why
There
we're
you go. And that's why you're in business.
totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
here we are, we're almost coming up on 5 years in the business, and
Wow.
yeah, there are good days, and you have support, and you have a team and everything, but there's still a lot of suffering. It's still
Oh,
For sure.
it's intense.
Yeah, it's everybody's like, oh, but you love what you do, right? Well, there are aspects that I love for sure.
Yeah. So before you got to the business, what did you do? You holiday together, stuff like that. Did you
Yeah,
work, and then decide to quit and do this, or?
Sorry, we're going at the same time. We spent like our whole lives living in a suitcase, really.
Well, Will raced professionally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right when I met him, he had already been racing professionally on a cycling team. And then I decided I was going to start racing when we came back from Australia. And basically, as soon as I started racing, I was like, wow, this is totally for me. And Will and my group of friends and our community, like it just opened my eyes that this was a possibility. 20 years old, I was already an adult. I had never done endurance sport before. And wow, maybe I could become a professional cyclist. So I dedicated the next 10 years and got on a pro team and started racing, and we did it together on the road for 10 years, obviously on different teams, but
Right.
Wow.
that's what we did.
And you made a living at it. Enough you made a living at doing this, like enough to keep doing this.
Yes.
No, it was at a high level. I mean, we spent a lot of we spent 6 winters in California. We spent several winters
Wow.
in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Europe was amazing.
I love
And
What a great way to see it too.
Exactly.
it really is the best way to immerse yourself in a culture, especially when you're riding around an entire area. I mean, you could be covering like 100
Right.
mile radius. You see so much, you see so many people, and it's just a really great way to see a countryside.
And being part of a team too. I mean, you're essentially colleagues and working with. We were both on a Belgian team for a year.
Mhm.
You're living in southern France, living in northern Spain, and you kind of get to become a bit of a local when you spend 3
That's
months
awesome.
in
You
a
spend
place.
that much time. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not just going to tourist.
Yeah.
You're there with a purpose. So it's a pretty neat experience.
When we have old teammates that just stayed.
Yeah.
Like,
Why
Never
not,
came back.
right?
Yeah, it's a different lifestyle in Europe for sure. A little
Mhm.
bit more slow paced and not so much of the rat race, which we're in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
they definitely understand life a little better than we do.
So
Yeah.
competitive racing. So forgive me because I really don't. I'm not sure I get all of it, but this is like Tour de France, kind of.
Yes. Very similar.
Sorry, I
think
that's
that level?
literally all of the cycling knowledge I know. I'm sure there are more races. I have no idea what they are.
Yeah.
Well, Italy's got a bunch of long ones. They all do, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. They're long, and there are lots of guys, and there are crashes and bright colors and
yeah,
mountains, and I mean, it's the same league. You're racing. We didn't race the Tour de France, but with many of the same competitors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, it feels like a whole another lifetime at this
It
point.
does, yeah.
And in the latter years of it, you're living out of a suitcase, you have a storage locker back home. But we got to that point where we were kind of looking around. We saw this opportunity. We saw this little 2-acre, 80-year-old house, kind of hobby farm, just beat up house.
Oh, it was, we walked into that house and I was like, are you sure that
Yeah. Is this safe?
this?
Can we get in here?
Yeah. How big are the rats that live in this house?
And Will's parents, they've had so much experience renovating places. So they were like, oh, no, this is nothing. Like,
Diamond in the rough.
yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
we can
Oh, yeah.
totally fix this up just to be like really good and comfortable and livable. And I was looking at it like,
You were scared.
I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, so we did.
But we both, I mean, you always wanted that kind of try it out, the hobby farm dream, right? Like
Mhm.
people romanticize it. And what would it be like to have a bit of space and have your garden and your little workshop and
Well, there was a real
let's try
push.
some animals?
Yeah, there was a real push to do that while we were racing because we really had lived out of a suitcase. We'd come home for a month at a time and we'd stay with, Will's parents. And,
Yeah.
that's kind of how we lived. We'd be on the road for 6 months and then
Right.
we'd come home for a month. And that was what we were doing. And we were like, you know what, we really want some place to come home to. And, what happens when we retire? It'd be nice to have just our own little piece. And while we're living in Spain, like we see all these hobby farms. And I think that's what really motivated us to buy a
Oh,
little farm.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen like an agriturismo in Europe. They're kind of there's like a restaurant on the farm. And
Yeah.
it's like a picturesque little place.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and the
Been
whole
to a few
Yeah.
of them. They're nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's amazing. So I
So
think
you're out in the valley here, right? Here.
habits,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically an hour east of Vancouver for those.
Well,
who-
we're both West Coast. It's only him that's not.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm in
I'm
East Vancouver, so
Okay.
Oh,
My
nice.
heart is in the West Coast, but my body's.
But he's
in the
not
East
there,
Coast.
so he can't be part of
Yeah,
this.
I'm not there.
He's one of those guys. He's a Toronto person, like GTA people, like those
I
ones.
love like Will grew up in Belleville, and we've gone back to visit numerous times with his grandparents.
I love Toronto.
No, it's
Not
Try not to tell any Vancouverites that, but I do. I love Toronto.
Yeah.
I do. It's alive. It's clean for a big. I mean, it's just. I like Toronto.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's alive.
Yeah.
Cool. So you've been out in the valley now since. So like this is toward the end of cycling the career. So this is around 5 years ago. It's just before.
This was actually 12 years ago. So
Okay.
we farmed for 2 years. We dabbled in a ton of different things. While we were racing, we'd be, because the off season, you know, it can be anywhere from like 2 to 3 months.
Right.
So we were home for 2 to 3 month periods, and you come home for a week here and there. So we planted a ton of stuff when we were home. It's like you come home for a week in the spring and you're like, okay, let's get to work. Let's plant as much as possible, and then you leave. And
and you come back and you can't find it because it's waist deep in weeds.
Yeah,
exactly.
But we planted a ton of different things. We did garlic, we did squash, you know, we raised pigs, we raised chickens, we pastured cows, and we kind of went down that road thinking, okay, maybe we could do something in farming when we retire. And then obviously 2 years in, we're like, oh man, we can't make a lot of money farming. This is really, really hard.
A lot of work for a little return.
Yeah. And we're like,
Monetary return.
Yeah. And we're like, well, we do need to make some money. And, you know, we still have a lot of drive. We're still super young. And, you know, 5 years ago, we decided, you know, well, why don't we start a kombucha company? Because Will was retiring. He had planned on retiring. I didn't plan on retiring, but it just worked out that way. That's a different story. But yeah, we decided, okay, well, why don't we start a kombucha company? And that started in the States, in California, because we'd been drinking kombucha for like 15 years.
Yeah.
We saw it on the shelf while it was on tap at a 7-Eleven like 12 years ago. And at that point, we were like, okay, why isn't kombucha popular in Canada? Like, how is it on tap at a 7-Eleven?
Right. And nobody in Canada knows what the hell it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And people are still like, what's
right?
that kombucha stuff?
Yeah, kombucha.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
You know, why does it smell like that? I don't understand. Right?
This stuff tastes funny. Like, why do people drink this stuff?
Yeah.
Until you drink our stuff. And then you
That is different for sure.
It was amazing though to think at that time it was still a novelty, but little did we know, like right at that, 5 years ago.
Yeah, your time is spot on.
Oh, but it was just like this explosion. People are just jumping into it left, right, and center. Let's start a kombucha company. Let's do this. And they're just like, oh man, all of a sudden it became hyper competitive right before your eyes.
Well, and I didn't think we didn't realize obviously at the time how hyper local it was going to become.
Right.
So that's what we're in right now, is like, we're actually a pretty big company. We can supply for big retailers and not run out of stock. And we have a great product. It's certified organic, like the flavor, like we had a product forward approach. So that was the
Flavor
most
was
important.
everything, right
that
from
was,
day one.
we knew that we wanted to have something that was really likable, that wasn't too vinegary, that wasn't bitter, that was really crisp and refreshing. And
so you don't get those questions like, why do you drink this stuff?
Yeah.
You
Right.
want it to- because it's really good.
Yeah. Wow.
And-
Okay.
And, well, now we're sort of in this space where we're like, okay, well, we can provide for a lot of retailers. We just need to really get out there and sell it and market it. And that's kind of where we're at now, because we don't have a co-packer. So when we started, we only had so much capacity, and that was
Right.
so we got to that capacity on our 2-acre farm. And that was, well, basically last December, we moved to a new farm, a 10-acre place with a much larger facility. And we were like, basically like to the rafters, like there was no space. We could not grow.
Oh no, we would climb a ladder and the boxes were stacked to the ceiling. It was a 13-foot high ceiling and they were squished against the ceiling.
And this is after the move into the larger space.
This was
just
Before.
Just before.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point you're done. I mean, you can't. That's that's insanity, right?
Talking about selling because you can't sell more product. You can't sell.
Right.
So we were kind of at that moment. We were like, okay, well, we can either be a profitable company and just like be a mom and pop, and this is what we do, or we can take that next big step. And this property came up. We ran by it like a number of different times. We saw the facility behind the house being built, and we thought,
it's 2 acres from our previous, 2 kilometers from our previous.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And
We just knocked on the door, and there was an opportunity. They wanted to sell, and we were like, okay, well, let's put together a budget and let's do this. Let's get a group of people and let's.
but they were building something that you actually could use for your
Yeah.
There was a house on 10 acres.
That's very
And someone they
fortuitous.
thought, well, I should build something on my lot because I know these 2 kids are going to run by and want to buy it because that's what they're looking for, right?
Were there signs?
Like seriously,
Go this way.
it doesn't make any sense, right? I mean,
If you make kombucha, go this way.
or if you make it, they will come. And sure enough, the 2 of them came by.
Yeah, I think we're just always looking for opportunity.
Yeah.
Like we always do. You know, when we were traveling with racing, we just sent out emails to bike shops saying, hey, we're coming to this area. We're hoping that we can rent a room off someone. You know, we're a really nice couple. We're on these site teams. Is there anyone in the area that would want to?
Good for you.
Wow.
So,
And you know, it was amazing when you do that, because invariably what would happen,
you put yourself out there.
Yeah, you
Yes.
do. And you think maybe someone has a suite and you can rent a suite or rent a room. But what ends up happening is you get this call and someone says, oh, I own a bike shop and I have a ton of space and I'm going to be away for a month and it would be perfect if you could.
Yeah, actually, I prefer it because someone's watching the shop, right?
Yeah.
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 And it's amazing the people you meet when you do this.
For sure.
put yourself out there, and if you are good people and if you know how to, communicate well, then people are gonna
Reciprocate for the most part.
Yeah.
People are 99.9% are really, really good people.
Yeah.
I always
Right.
say
I totally agree with that. I mean, and it's like you don't have to
Yeah.
get anything back, but if you give, you typically get.
Yeah.
mhm,
Right.
yeah.
And that's pretty much how it works out.
Well,
So,
and if-
okay.
It's
Go ahead.
funny actually, because Kenny and I had that conversation with somebody today. We met with somebody and she was like, here's what I'm looking for. She was a leather maker and she was looking for some retailers. Right. And Kenny and I are like, we're in the business. We're not in apparel. Maybe Kenny has some of that. I have even
Very
less
little.
of that, but she was trying to figure out how she was going to pay us. And both of us are like, oh no, we don't want to do any work for you. Like we
We're not looking for the workout contacts. I'll give you contacts. I
you
don't
have a
feel like
cool
doing
story, so we want you on
Yeah.
the podcast. And why don't we just? And she wanted to know like the value of each of these contacts, and we were like, no, that's not how. So we work the same way, right? Which is
Yeah.
like, no.
Hopefully
like,
the value will be good for her. Like she'll get good value out of them. I don't need anything.
you
What
know,
do I care?
like we'll make connections for you, and then
Hopefully it'll work out.
more power to you, right? Like
Yeah, what goes
Yeah,
around
it's
comes
really
around.
funny. Yeah,
You can't try to
Yeah.
advertise and charge for every single
exactly.
conversation.
And even if it doesn't come around, what's the difference? I mean, you do things. You know why you do things? Because it's the right thing to do. Just do it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and there's
Right?
nothing worse than being super cheap with your knowledge and cheap with anything really. Like
Mhm.
if you take out a bunch of stuff and some old wood and people are like, oh, why don't you sell that? It's like, well, no, I just want someone to pick it up and they're going to use it for good. So like if someone really needs that and they're going to pick it up, well, I'm just going to
Exactly.
give it.
What do you care?
It's good.
Well,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Happy.
Yeah.
So tell us about this. So you are. So now you've got kind of
So
this.
you knocked on the door, you bought a place.
Yeah.
And then you
More or less. So, I mean, it is
It was
crazy
a-
when you watch these guys, they're building this gorgeous new warehouse on their property and then it's finished. And we do our run 3 times a week and then nothing's happening. And a little more time goes by and you're like, okay, we have to knock on the door. And it's
Yeah.
like, we built this and we wanted to use it for our business and we put all the TLC into it thinking we're going to be here forever, but didn't work out. So we're going to sell it
Yeah.
privately to you and away you go. And you work out a
Wow.
deal. Wow. We were fortunate.
serendipitous, right? Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really great.
Wow.
And
That's
one-
cool.
Yeah. Instead of taking one step forward, we decided to take 5 steps forward.
Yes.
So now we're kind of in this transition of, okay, well, our sales have now doubled in the last 6 months, but it's not enough. So we're like,
Yeah, double's not
scrambling.
got to be 5.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got this huge
Yeah,
place.
okay.
But you got to fill the place, right?
Yeah.
You got, there's process water and bringing in more power, and there's a
Oh,
much higher
yes.
level food safety certification, and that brings a consultant, and it's this huge undertaking.
Not to mention the whole farming side of things. We've
Right.
in the midst of all that, we've planted 300 cherry trees, 3,000.
Well, you're 5 times the land all of a sudden, too, right?
Yeah.
Never mind just 5 times the business size. You're 5 times your land.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a physical space.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, that's an undertaking,
Wow.
right?
Oh yeah.
It is an undertaking. That's why we came in at 8:00 tonight.
Wow, no joke, right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
See, but yeah, so like that, I think that's a nuance, right? Like it's not even a nuance. It's like a whole different dimension. It's not only that you make kombucha, but you actually grow everything. It sounds right. Like you guys grow everything that
We're going-
kind of goes, or a lot of the ingredients that go into
As much as
kombucha.
Yeah, we're growing as much as we can, trying to utilize the land as much as we can. We do like farming. Like we talk about this, like even if one day we move on from this, or say it takes on, a life of its own without us, I think we'll still always pursue farming for our own personal enjoyment and health. And there's so many aspects about it that we love. So I'd say the farming side is actually probably the most enjoyable if we only had more time to dedicate to it, because right now it really is just full on.
Yeah, I mean, it's super rewarding. And it's part of, the kombucha is what we started with, but with Thrive Remedies, the herbal tea, that is more the ingredients that we can grow. It's really neat because herbs grow quickly and you get a lot out of them, steeping them into teas.
You can dry them.
Yeah, exactly. Dehydrate them, so you're using them throughout the year, because obviously, if you harvest everything all at once, then what do you do the year? So it's, that's pretty neat, but it's a process, right? Like you move into a space and you don't just suddenly have produce tomorrow. It's
well, everything takes time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and so a lot of the stuff that you put into your teas, you're actually growing on the actual site. So at one time you could actually be a co-supplier for others if you so chose to go down that path.
Eventually.
Because if you like farming, but the tea might be fun, but it might get to the point where, like you'd say, been there, done that, was cool, but I'd rather, I don't know, farm and sell herbs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny, like with COVID, especially, like herbals and adaptogens and these things
for sure
popularity like crazy. But this last year, they just exploded. Like a lot of these herb farms, they're sold out. You can't,
no doubt.
And it's starting to go into consumer products like ours, because, public's really interested in that. So being able to grow things, it's pretty neat, because what happens next summer when, say we're selling 5 times more herbal tea and we can't buy ashwagandha or we can't buy milk thistle.
Right.
It's a possibility.
It's the definite possibility. The supply chain is stretched to the absolute maximum.
Crazy right now.
Well, I don't think, again, you talk to people, they still have no clue that it's a disaster. Like it really is. It's really not good.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you forget as a consumer, you just walk into the store and you're like, oh, I'm just going to load up my cart, and you're like, oh, this is annoying. Why are these things sold out right now? And you realize because
where is the toilet paper?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's floating out in the ocean somewhere on a ship.
Or still in port. Waiting to float on the ocean in a ship.
Loaded more likely. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's, people don't understand. So, it's when you can be a little more self-sustainable, or grow your own things, even for it, like say it's for the teas, that's a huge advantage.
Oh yeah.
Again, a ton of work.
Yes.
Right.
But being able
a ton of work.
Supply chain is pretty valuable.
But you learn that though, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. But it's like a lot of things, it's work on the front end. That's why like these are perennials of thing. And so it's a ton of work getting them in, and they're inundated with weeds, but then the next year they're more established, they're larger. Right. And by the third year, they're these hardy, healthy things that are just producing, and you're saying, oh wow, that investment's starting to pay off. But yeah, you got to be patient.
Yeah. It takes time and work, right?
So you really got, it's not, so you guys are,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just laughing because
it's a hard thing to explain.
Well, no. I think the harder part to explain is so we always, every few episodes, we get someone that we kind of look at and go, are you crazy? Right? We've met a lot of people like this. And you guys, you guys have just finished work. You're coming on, you're smiling ear to ear, and you're just so damn fun to talk to. And
you're happy. It's really nice to see, right?
Really, you've been farming. You run a warehouse and you run a production facility, and you're 3 brands, right? And you're out dealing with retailers.
Where do you begin? I know.
Why are you laughing right now?
Exactly. Unless this is hysterical, right? This might be just at that edge, we just almost over the edge.
Like breaking down and tears just
when you get kind of
sputtering.
punchy and that you go to bed like a little kid that needs his nap.
Yeah.
So we'll end it at 9:00. So by 9:05, they're going to be in tears, and that'll blow the whole podcast. So about 9, we'll shut her down.
Oh my goodness, to be honest, that's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah.
Jesus. No, it's incredible because there's a lot of stuff going on. To be smiley the way you are,
going on, right?
you're literally hysterical, or you're just happy people, which is really nice to see.
in the heat of the moment, you know what it is, like it can be
Mhm.
stressful and you're
Yes.
tired and
Yeah.
you're like, man, what are we doing? We've taken on way
Yeah.
too much. This is overwhelming, all these things. But then you step back and you realize like we're so fortunate. Like look at where we live,
We could,
you know, look at what we're doing, and we're making something that we actually like. We drink our product all day, every day. We love it. So we're putting out something that
we,
is really fantastic.
So can you tell us more about that though? So give me what's the product? Where
Yeah.
is it? You
So-
know, I don't know, whatever.
Thrive
Sure.
Remedies was our second launch, and it's been around for about a year.
Yeah.
And it's now available nationally, and it's in more than 500 locations across Canada.
Nice.
So it's grown really quickly because it's super innovative and it tastes.
So what
absolutely-
is the what is this? What is this one?
So it's basically a functional iced tea.
Okay.
And I don't like to say iced tea because everyone thinks like, oh, sweet sugary iced tea, or like southern sugar-free just
Right.
iced tea that's like bland and kind of bitter. It's nothing like that. It's super flavorful. It's super complex, but doesn't have that real bitterness that you'd expect from adaptogens, because
Right.
there's, you know, there are ways to steep the tea so that you're not getting all those bitter notes and
Mhm.
that sort of thing. But
Yeah, I mean, Sho is a super taster. So when she says there are ways to do it, it means she is a perfectionist and spends a ton of time working on that recipe and putting together, you know, things and flavors that work.
So you're
well.
doing that too. So you're the chemist cook.
yes,
Yeah, when
Yes.
it comes to forming the recipe, I mean, we do it together for sure, but she really is. It's kind of like our production manager Miguel. He's always blown away. Like he'll measure the pH and the bricks, and he'll look at the time of the ferment. He'll look at all these parameters, and then I can pretty much just give. Sho doesn't even really have to taste it, but I just give her a smell or a taste of something.
She'll
and
know.
like, oh, that, you know, give that 3 more days. That's ever so slight, and every time she's right. And Miguel kind of shakes his head. He's like, "How? I don't understand. Like, how?" But
It's innate, right? It's just in you.
yeah, and 5 years of cultivating it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, it was always annoying when I was a kid because I could taste mold on bread before you could see it or smell it. And my parents just thought, oh, you're just complaining. Like you're just like, just eat it. Just eat it.
Picky child. Picky child.
Yeah. But it's turned out to be quite the benefit. Yeah. Moving
I
forward.
have some of those skills, but my family doesn't use it for that at all. So I'm
No?
like the canary is what I am. So they're always like, try this. If you're fine, then we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Would-
Like,
Someone has to be.
His family's the same way. They're like, Shawnee, try this. You'll know. You'll know.
That's so funny.
I'm like,
If you don't get sick, we're all good.
yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So,
And
I
so
mean,
and so Thrive is in a lot of places. Like I just looked at how many places you're in.
Is
and
it mostly
it's-
natural health? Is it grocer? Is it
Buddy,
now, is
it's everywhere. Like
this like refrigerated, like
Philo,
normal
Philo
kombucha, like
carries
kombucha?
them. There's health food stores.
Yeah.
The Big Apple carries them. Camiso's, Farm Boy.
Oh, you're across
Like
the
it's
country.
right across
Yeah.
the board. Like it's
Barrie in Quebec now, starting to get a few more small.
Yeah.
health food. It's really, it was pretty neat. I think one of the when we got a national distributor, actually one of the first stores that took it on was a health food store on the East Coast. We thought, oh, we're coast to coast.
Coast to coast, baby.
coast to
Yeah.
coast.
When someone tags your product in New Brunswick, you're like, look at this. This is so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
pretty cool. Yeah.
So I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
to use it like the product, so you develop it with kind of a purpose. So each one, there's a calm, there's a recovery, there's a stress,
Right.
Mhm.
And
a detox, and defense. So they have herbs that serve a purpose, more than just thinking about the flavor.
And we're all about being transparent, because Will and I are those consumers. We look for products like the ones you create. We put the milligrams of each herb that we have in each bottle, so you know what you're getting.
Good.
I think there are a couple of different adaptogenic teas out there, but you don't know what you're getting. And if you're going to pay $5 to $6 for a premium product, you want to know that you're getting something that is,
There's a
that's going to
legitimate
work.
amount.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
I
on
and I
top
think
of-
with this, right? Like it's important too, because like, there's so many, kind of herbal things out there that you're kind of like,
There's a lot of shit out there.
You threw
Bottom line.
some mint in it, and like now it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
like
Well, it's a bandwagon thing too, right?
Yeah.
Like if people see
For
that,
sure.
like elderberries are trending, so you're just, this is
Yeah.
from elderberry and whatever.
yeah,
But how much, and is it good quality? And I don't know, just throw it
Doesn't
in.
matter. Even if it's just a waft of it, just drive by an elderberry field and say it was close enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right? Because people do that too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But like Will and I, we really do put a ton of effort into the products that we make. We use a lot of ingredients. You know, our teas, we use all certified organic ingredients,
Right.
and we're going that extra mile. Like it's zero sugar, so it's caffeine, and it's also caffeine free. So by not having caffeine, these adaptogens that sort of help with stress, like having caffeine, it's a stimulant. It's not great for your,
help with stress.
hormone balance. Like, yeah, exactly.
Right.
So we've left it out. So now there's an iced tea that's available out there that you can have any time of the day, which is really nice. And you're not getting all that sugar as well. So
So
we've
that's the
talked
second
about-
brand. So the tea was the first, then there's this. Now are they, and they were, I asked you,
this is the tea.
this is the tea.
This is the tea.
Okay. And that's refrigerated like a true kombucha, or is it shelf stable?
It's shelf stable.
Shelf
That's-
stable, even better.
Yes.
That makes a world of difference. I was
And
thinking,
that-
why, Jesus Christ, to ship to Ontario or New Brunswick in refrigerated trucks. My God, you guys are spending a fortune in transport.
Yeah, but even
Yes.
like getting a pallet of kombucha to Alberta, you're right away. You're like, oh darn, this is getting expensive.
Oh yeah, big money.
Yeah, reefer, and also like we're talking the supply chain. It's hard to get. Like we tried to book a reefer truck a week ago, and like, oh man, we're like totally booked. We can't get one because it's
We can't get anything right now.
Yeah. So the shelf stable thing, that's been a game changer to get into so many doors so quickly.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's part of why we did it. Really,
Yeah.
we were seeing
It's
some of the
definitely part of it.
limitations with kombucha. I think there's a ton of room to grow with kombucha with what we're doing yet.
It's just unfortunate because I mean, both our products are amazing, but our kombucha, like it really does stand out. We just had
Mhm.
a consumer post a taste test video of like 6 or 7 different kombuchas, and they picked ours as the winner.
It's
And
awesome.
this is
But it wasn't even-
unsolicited. This is unsolicited. Like I just got a tag and I watched the video and I was like, obviously you're like, oh no, oh
Yeah,
god.
oh God.
Yeah.
I know, like, is this
Let
gonna
Let me
be
not
like,
be number 7. Not
I know this would be like
number seven.
really,
Yeah.
really bad. Like, oh, and then you're like, oh my god. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
relief.
Wow.
Wow.
But we get
That's
that all the
fantastic.
time. Like,
Yeah.
buy Healthy Huge kombucha, they're really like, this is amazing. Like, it has no weird aftertaste. It's super crisp, but it's still got a lot of
Mhm.
flavor. Like,
But I mean, in some ways,
Enough to try yours.
yeah. Well, you got to try. Well, if
Yeah.
tell us wherever out in the, I mean, you're close. If you're out in the valley, come by.
well,
Um,
exactly.
You can have.
I mean, it's Vancouver, man. We don't leave these sides.
No, I know you can't get Vancouver people. They
No,
never leave.
they never
You
leave.
can't-
I got boundaries like too far away, man. I can't. How about if something happens? How about if I get lost, or maybe they won't let me back in East Van? I gotta watch these things. Very, very.
Well, that's why
Very tricky.
there's so much going on in East Van. They just want to keep you there, and everybody's
Yeah.
like, yes, let's stay.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
But I mean, being so like focused on the product, while it's great because we love it, it's been a learning curve in business because we realize like there's so much more to it, right? Like you have the greatest product in the world, it's so amazing. But yeah, how do you get it out there?
How do you get it to people?
Mm.
You got to talk to buyers, and they
Right.
don't necessarily know the difference between this and another one. And that's a major challenge.
It really
So
is.
how did you do it? Like, how did you get it out there?
Yeah.
And how did you talk to buyers?
I mean, I think we're still in the midst of that process of learning
Yes.
right now. I think we have so far to go.
We did a lot of the sales ourselves in the beginning, and we've maintained those relationships. And
Hmm.
you know, our sell-through rate at a lot of our, you know, the places that we distribute to personally they do amazingly.
Right.
So now it's just sort of moving past that. How do you get this out to buyers that aren't in your direct vicinity, you know?
Mhm.
And just deciding whether to go with salespeople or brokers, or that's kind of the challenge that we're in right now, because like we said, we basically had maxed out our capacity. And
Right.
then 6 months ago we moved, and now we're able to produce a lot more.
Right.
Mhm.
So now we need to find, you know, more places that want to take on our product. And
Okay.
obviously kombucha, if we distribute it, we make, you know, it's the margins are a lot better. So, you know, we want to distribute, but we're also looking to work with.
Well, they're a lot better until you become AR, because
Mm.
AR is fun,
Oh.
Mhm.
especially if your AR starts to outpace your payables. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's
And
exciting.
When you're growing, that's
And then when your payables look like, yeah, that's real fun, right?
Yeah.
Cash flow, it's
To
awesome.
grow is brutal. It's a major issue that we're in the midst of because you're trying to spend money on capital and building out a facility and everything.
Well, that's
like
just
you
it,
said,
right?
like you said, with the freight issues being such, that's a big one. Now we have to order inventory 4 months in advance, or even more so.
We're just going to turn into a bottle storage warehouse here, because if you don't, then you run out.
And you don't get it. Like, we order.
You're on 10 acres. That's why you bought 10 acres.
Well, yeah. That's a lot of bottles.
Yeah.
Just start, build a shed behind it. You'll have some young guys knocking on your door saying, hey, what are you doing over there? Did
you sell the smaller place? Because maybe you're only 2K away, so maybe you just need to buy the property in the middle.
Yeah, there you go.
Just,
tough to hold land in the city. Even Abbotsford, tough to hold land.
Yeah, I'll talk with our money tree in the back.
I know, right?
Yeah, let us know how that goes too.
Yeah.
So you are in the midst of trying to figure this stuff out, though. So at this point, now I'm just super curious. Now I won't stop now.
No.
So I'm kind of curious. So like you are still pretty much the face of this, and you are still are you still distributing yourself, or are you using a distributor? What are you guys doing?
We work with we work with maybe 5 or 6 distributors. So we are, but
that's good.
We have two different products. So, not all the distributors take on both of our products.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're really trying to push Healthy Hooch Kombucha because our margins are really good on
the
product because we've been doing it for the last 5 years. And, Thrive's a little bit different. Like it's, just supplying everything's.
Well, it's good, but it's new, right? You're still
right. But you can charge a premium for that too, I'm assuming, or pad it a little bit so you can blow your brains out of marketing. Like you can pull from the cogs.
You know what? To be honest, that's something that we learned too. We probably priced it a little bit lower than we should have.
Typically, most people do. They don't.
Well,
you forget the other parts, right?
Yep, and you forget about all those extra things.
Well, you listen to people around you like, oh no, but like it has to come in at this price, and like.
But they're going to tell you that because they want it to come in at a lower price.
Yeah.
Or really, to be honest with you, most just have no clue.
And that's
they really don't. Sorry, they just really don't. You can talk to buyers, and buyers will give you bad advice.
Yeah, yes, and it's an innovative product, and now
right,
we're realize that more ourselves. Like if we're making something for someone who wants a premium product, think of what we do. Like today, we went and we looked at, like right now I'm gluten free. I'm trying to determine if I have an allergy or not.
Right.
So I saw the $10 6-pack of beer and the $16 6-pack, and I bought the $16 one. I didn't even think about it for a second.
Because
not even a second, because I know I like the flavor better.
And it's really good.
I like that.
Exactly. So what's the difference, right?
Yeah, and that's a major price difference.
Right. And you know that the cogs are probably very similar. So the guy at $16 is actually making money.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But if you want to push bottles all day, you can do that, or you can try to make some money while you're pushing the bottles all day.
Especially like, I don't want to gouge consumers. That's not what we're about. But I think we have
you have to keep your head above water.
Well, yeah, and I think we have the best adaptogenic tea on the market right now.
But then people should pay for that.
Yeah.
It's not gouging. So I always tell people, be careful with the word gouging. Gouging is like there's a forest fire, you have all the generators, and you decide to charge $1 million a generator. That's gouging. When you own a farm and you're out there farting around all day in the weeds and seeds, then you're working all day and you're chemisting and all that other stuff.
5 jobs that we can keep
exactly
now.
At that point, you know what? You can pay for the damn shit. There's no freebie anymore. No, but that's
I think that's the thing, right? Is at the end of the day, in the same way that you recognize like the $16 one, they put work into it, right?
Exactly.
So it tastes good.
Someone's got to pay for that.
I'm going to feel good. I understand the value in that. I think that people will understand that in your product as well.
I agree.
So, yeah.
And then you pick the right retailers. You pick the retailers where people like, if you go into Whole Foods, first off, if any of us go into Whole Foods, price is typically not the first thing that comes to our mind. Right. When you're walking out with a $20 apple pie, which I still don't understand how I don't even know how I do that.
Or
but
like
I've done it.
A $20 personal salad.
Like seriously? I mean, who does that?
For lunch.
For lunch. And you think, really? Who does that? There's like about $3 worth of stuff in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. But you do, because you know why? Because you just do. And it's presented well and it looks good. And it's Whole Foods and it's probably going to be very good. And who cares?
I know.
Yeah, the quality's good. It's organic. Exactly. And you say, what the hell? I don't have to worry about it. I know it's
exactly. Yeah. So don't get trapped in that. You can price accordingly. What the market bears is what the price is
right now, because we're right in the midst of these conversations. Like when you're growing and you're learning these things, we're saying, okay, like,
you bug people like us. That's what we do.
Yeah. And like John's out there, he's selling, he has a lot of connections and he's doing well.
Yeah.
But there's more to it. You got to see like which retailers are doing the volume, which ones aren't. And
exactly. And which ones are going to drive it at $3.99 or $5.99.
Yeah.
Any jackass can sell products, cheap. That's not hard to do. Right. If you want to sell a ton of volume, just lower the price. You won't make any money, but you'll sell a lot.
But then that's the thing. And then you realize at the end of the day, oh, this is great. I sold, hundreds of thousands of bottles.
Yeah.
Did you make anything?
You wore out your machine and you wore out your staff.
Exactly. And for what, right?
Yeah. So we're going. That's a big conversation right now.
It is. Yeah.
There's
always big conversations.
You look like you're on the cusp of breakthrough. I mean, I'm looking at your Healthy Hooch kombucha list, and you've got like 50 really great 50 60 like really great retailers on this list, right?
Yeah. We are. But no, it's funny, like when you're in it, we're suffering. We're working hard, but like we feel so confident, like this time next year, where will we be and what will have happened? Like it's a lot. It's a lot. There's a
well, Phil's cheating, I'm cheating.
No, I'm not cheating.
You do this all the time. You do this every single time. We do this every time. We do this, and then I'm always not looking, and then I don't know what's going on. And you always know more than I do, and I hate it.
I want to be clear, because at this point, usually, I'm buying your stuff already. So
I'm trying to figure out what the hell you're doing.
Like, but I'm behaving. It's just because they've got
just because you buy shit doesn't mean you're behaving. You're not paying attention.
No,
then I don't know what's going on because I can't ask you. I don't know what the hell you're selling.
They've got retailers on the page. I'm super curious. Like it looks like they've got Rexall on this page. They've got IGAs. Like, because to me, the independents you have here are amazing.
Oh, your package is super pretty.
But it's almost like, you're on the cusp of, like some pharmasaves here. Maybe the chain picks you up, right? Like that would help distribution, like Save On.
Well.ca.
When you go from a handful of Save-Ons to all of Save-Ons starting to order you, right? Like,
as long as they don't start behaving like a grocer.
Well,
that's the trick. Otherwise, then now you're primo pasta in a minute.
So you sell kombucha, so there's no
really
there's no avoiding that. Like, grocers are grocers, right?
It's a beautiful package. Who designed it?
Yeah,
I did, actually.
This is really pretty.
Yeah, I did all.
So you're a package designer too.
I
we have 6 or 8 jobs now. I've lost track now.
I taught myself how to use Adobe Illustrator and the Adobe
Sure,
Suite.
why not?
And
well, we started. I mean, remember, have you heard of Fiverr? You outsource. And
yeah.
$10 and someone will kind of digitize your idea for you. But it seems like a good idea, but you realize it's really hard to get what you want.
Oh, it's so difficult.
And Show is more of a perfectionist. So you realize, okay, I guess I'm going to learn
how to do it myself.
Adobe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just rather than going back and forth with someone, like I'd draw it out and then I'd say, can you do this? And they wouldn't do their rendition the way I drew it. And it would just be, hundreds of emails back and forth. And I was like, why am I doing this? This is such a waste of time. I just need to learn how to do it myself and do it myself. And
you did a really nice job. It's a really, really pretty package.
Thank you.
Really pretty package.
The caveat for anyone else listening to this is you still need people to like validate that what you've got is a great design, right? Because we do. But
you want to make sure it says exactly.
Who've done this and go, this is what I want. This is amazing. You're like, whoa. That's
okay, but on this page, this is only Thrive.
Like, it's really so they have Thrive, and then they also have the Healthy Hooch, and then they also have Fraser Valley, the juice press as well.
Okay,
so Fraser Valley is actually just a smaller brand that we started right at the beginning of COVID because our sales declined by like 30% with all the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, what can we do to sort of get those sales back up? Let's do a certified organic lemonade with local berries. And then I just whipped that brand off and put it up.
I've seen people wear your t-shirts. I think I even got a t-shirt of yours, probably at a CHFA show.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. We did the last CHFA before I didn't have this past year.
Where COVID started.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's a nice package too.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's really great. This is okay.
This is really cool, guys.
So you've got to grow. You're trying to solve some of these, the questions that companies that start to grow try and figure out, right? Like, what's our model? How do we do this? Like, how many people can we pay to push our product around, right? Yeah. I get it.
And there's always that chicken or the egg situation. It's funny. It's like, do you have the customer first or the distribution first?
Yeah.
And you start talking to a retailer and they're interested and say, but how do I get it? And you don't have the distributor yet. You talk to the distributor and say, well, I don't want it unless you.
I don't want it. You got any POs yet?
Yeah. And so what do? And you just go back and forth. You're like, someone just has to commit and pull the trigger, and then the dominoes are going to fall.
Right. You just need to find the one person who will do that, though. Typically in the old days, like London used to be really good for that. Save-On used to be really good for that too in the old days, where you could go in and someone would take a chance. IGA was like that. Everybody's gone a little more corporate over the years, but they were the ones you could go in and they take a chance.
Save-On might be your mover. If you've got them in multiple locations, it's just about them collecting their own data, right?
It's just making sure it's in the right place. In their stores, you got to make sure it's in the right place. Because if you go through produce, it's probably where you want to be. But the produce guy's fighting with the beverage guy, who's fighting with the refrigeration guy, who's fighting with the other beverage guy. Like, it depends on where it lands, right?
Yeah, like everyone has their section, and then
and there is your territory. And your product might be, most kombucha that's refrigerated. So the refrigerated guy's all pissed because produce guy took it.
Yeah.
And now you're confusing the customers. It's in two locations. You think, okay, buddy, whatever, man. It's selling. Who cares? But he doesn't get or she doesn't get credit for it. So you get into those fights, right?
It's honestly a crazy game, isn't it?
It really is.
It's just insanity.
Well, and
that's probably why we like it.
Well, yeah, it keeps it interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely does. It is tough with kombucha though, because there are so many smaller producers. Ones that maybe like they're producing in their garage and they're all approaching the same retailers. So Save-On's getting like 30 kombuchas in a month that have approached them. And they're all different. They're like, well, they can't distinguish who's going to be able to produce for them and be able to stock the shelves and keep the shelves full.
That's where your broker or your distributor become key, because if you got someone who's got a nice web in the building, it changes the whole game, right?
And that's where we're at right now, is just sort of deciding who we should go with, who is really going to work with us and be a true partner and grow our brand.
If you have any ideas, just send them to me. You have our emails, right? Just throw it in an email. I know most of the people in the city that are going to be in this space. Oh, Mike, I was buying with London I was with London for 26 years. I bought for 16 of them.
Wow.
Right. So, I mean, I know a lot of the guys still in town.
Yeah. So
we'll keep this conversation going.
I'm sort of like, what is your guys' story? I know that Phil you're in marketing, and I tried to research you guys, but there isn't a ton of information about.
So we're both consultants. I came through a lot of the kind of big CPG companies. So Pfizer, J&J, folks like that. And then I went from like sales to trade marketing to marketing. And then I flipped over to the retail side. So I bought for Target for a couple of years. And then I went to startup life, and then did the tech startup thing. And now I work for myself, right? So, so I'm a management and marketing consultant is what I am. And then we do this podcast thing. So between that's kind of my gig. And
mine's been, I've been in retail since I was 14. Yeah. So I've been in retail for 40 years plus, right? Yeah. I just like retail, and I like packaged goods, and I like all this stuff. So when I left London, when I turned 50 and I'd left to do this, so I would consult, and then I had met Phil prior, but we started doing the podcast, and we just like people's stories, right? And so a lot of the stuff I do is more what you guys do. It's more on the operations side and trying to help people make sure you cost it properly. How do you work your margins? Here's a list of distributors. This is what each is going to do for you. This is how you manage this one. This is the retailer you go to. This is the one you avoid. Like all the mechanics behind it, because people don't understand it. It's an ugly game. And then typically why Phil and I get along is because if I do that, then because even though my degree was in marketing, it's like 30 plus years ago, so I'm a dinosaur with it. I just said, then go talk to him. And that's where all the digital would come in, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's not rocket science, but it's nice to know. The things we tell people like you is you got to tap into people who know shit. Like you can ask to buy a place.
I know. I wish we had met people like you 5 years ago when we started, because we really were so green. And
that's okay. You learned a lot though.
So much, but we were so naive. I mean, we didn't know anything about the world.
But you hear that story a lot. I think a lot get into it. They're excited and they have a great product, and they think people want it. So
everybody should have it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you carry it? I mean, it's my product. It's the best thing in the world.
And it's fantastic. And everybody likes it. So
and the buyer will sit there looking at you thinking, why is that person not as excited as I am? And the guy's like, I don't really care what you're doing. Yeah. What's the cost?
He seems kind of mean, actually.
Yeah. What are you going to give me?
Why is he asking all these questions?
What's this co-op thing?
Oh, the co-op thing.
What's a listing? What do you mean I have to give you money to put it on the shelf? I thought you paid me.
Yeah, we got into the IGAs and fresh sheets really early, and they were great, and they did so well. But then it was like, yeah, and you're just going to pay us back this 10% co-op. You're like, wait, I have to give you back 10%. But then how do I make any?
Well, how long did they let you run without it?
Yeah. Wait, and then you got to wait how many days before I get paid? Like what? Like
well,
what
net 30 really means
like,
about 60.
Yeah,
and if we're on time, you give us back 2%.
Yeah,
Yes.
the 2%.
We get a
2%
deal.
10. That's the one that gets me.
Oh, yeah.
210 is really.
Well, they're doing you a favor, you know.
Well, it's also directional. 210, 215, 230, same thing.
Well, the 210, yeah. I mean, you still take the 2% off, but you can pay 30 days later.
If I can pay 45, I'm still taking the 2.
Well, you still take the 2 off. I mean, what's wrong with that?
You don't get it back.
When it started, I just didn't even understand it. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, how long did they let you ride with no co-op?
Well, I think like the first 6 months, it was just cruising along.
That's not bad then.
And we're just ripping along, and then all of a sudden this co-op thing came, and we're like, what is this? What just happened?
Yeah.
And that's if you didn't price it, and that's why we always tell people that's where things fall apart if you didn't price it in.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're thinking, oh shit, now what am I gonna do? 10%, that's 10% gone.
Yeah.
For what?
We met someone really early on there in Kent, and he was a great guy, and he was like, let's
they're a good group, but they're small too. It's nice. They're good people.
Yeah.
They're not hard to deal with.
We meet really good people along the way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the buy low group is a pretty good group too. They're all pretty good.
Yeah, and
those guys are cool.
You meet the good people, and you have those good long-term relations. That's what that's the good part for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
It is. Just gotta ride it.
You guys,
what the hell, right?
This is amazing.
I mean, still smiling. It's 9:02. I mean, it's not that bad, right?
Yeah.
You're probably starved.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, our pets aren't whining and bugging us here.
Yeah, in the background.
That's funny.
Already.
Well, good for you.
We thank you for coming on. This is
that's awesome.
We would love. I think like we'd love to have you guys on again.
I'd love to follow up in the new year, see what's going on, where it's at.
I feel like we could do this like for another hour, but I'm pretty sure you're either gonna like cross the brink and
that's where the crying's going to happen. I think we're 3-4 minutes
crying,
away.
The twitching, all of this stuff. So what's the best place for people to find you and check out product and contact you if they want to
connect with you or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, in Vancouver, we have a ton of locations on our website, but you can get us online with spud.ca. Eat Good Daily does delivery as well. We have a ton of different, we've got lots of great places that have it. If you look on our website, the local food harvest, they always carry a lot of our products. You're always going to get it there in Chilliwack.
Okay.
Lots of save on foods.
I think really, the best is, you've done a good job with the web just to maintain who's carrying the products. And it's being.
Are you both online yourselves? Are you on LinkedIn? If someone wanted to get a hold of you personally,
we have a phone number on both of our websites that.
Okay.
I'm not a great social media person at all, but just recently, the last 6 months, I'm finally like, all right, I have to use LinkedIn and I have to actually.
It's not a bad. It's actually I like LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is probably the most civilized of all of them.
Yeah, it's the only one actually I'm on anymore. I like it. It's just.
Well, it's just a great way to connect.
It is a great way to
connect. That's really the
connect.
whole purpose, right?
Yeah. Totally right. And there's always some good readings there where you'll see other people going through the same shit you are, and you're thinking, oh wow, okay, it's not just me.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Which is kind of nice too, because there are times where you feel alone. That's just.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Right.
We feel very isolated. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh my God.
No, thank you for coming on. We love this.
Yeah.
If you guys, we'll reach back out. We'd love to have you on again. If you guys get any new developments or you want to share new products you're launching, because the 8-9 jobs you have now, my bet is you'll add something new in the next 2 hours while you're eating dinner.
I'm sure something will come up, or there'll be 10 more acres to buy and it'll be a new farm or something.
So if that happens, let us know. We'd love to bring you back on.
Let's have you back on.
And you can share your.
You're lovely to talk to.
Yeah,
I know. This is great, and we'll definitely reach out if we have any exciting new things pop up.
Yeah. So tomorrow. Yeah, we'll hear from
you. I have a new idea. What do you think?
Yeah. So overnight, we planted more seeds.
Yeah.
And next week we're starting.
You never know, right?
Exactly.
We've got so many projects. We've got we're setting up a little a suite for a woofer. I don't know if you guys have heard of woofers, but we're hoping any woofers out there, contact us.
Woofer I know is a speaker. What's a woofer?
Okay, so it's work for organic farms, like something.
Oh,
I can't even remember.
I
the
can't
acronym.
remember. The
Essentially, yeah,
acronym,
it's
so
basically
bad.
it pairs people. You know, if you have a farm, it's organic focused, and they're
Okay.
individuals. You know, you're traveling, and you can.
yeah. I know people who do that.
You
Yeah.
get room and board, and you just put
Yeah.
in sort of a half day work, and you learn a little bit
Okay.
about agriculture, and
Yeah.
you get to explore an area, and it's
Really?
pretty neat, actually.
Yeah, it's great. So we're looking for those kind of people.
So,
Come work
yeah.
on our farm.
Well, yeah. So
Okay.
there's this suite that we had to fix up. The previous owners they used it for pet grooming and cat breeding and stuff. So like, okay, that was a
It's
terrible.
a little much. It's okay. That's not quite.
Just totally ruined it. But so yeah, we're just gutting it and cleaning it up and turning it into a nice little suite.
Luckily, we've got a friend who just wants to come out with his son and do work, and that he's been doing it for the last few weeks. So we have some free labor, and it's amazing.
Those are
and
friends you keep.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
Those
I
are
can't
keepers.
believe it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind woofers. Go for the keepers. That's a keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see that's where Kenny and I would really fail, right? Like we
Yeah, no,
complain
it's not
so
gonna
much.
happen.
You'd be like,
Yeah,
"Get
you'd be
out."
pissing
Just-
on us. And we'd end up
Get
taking too
out.
much product. I'd be
Get
trying
out.
all the product,
Here's-
thinking,
Here's the relaxed tea, and then get
Yeah.
out. Like just
Yeah.
go away.
oh,
It's
look, I
kinda-
wouldn't mind. I could do some gardening as long as it's not too hot. I don't want to be in the
No,
sun too
he has a
long.
gardener.
Yeah.
Not this summer, then.
Yeah,
Not this
this-
summer.
No, this summer was bad.
He,
Yeah,
he
this
says
summer-
he wants to garden, but he has a gardener. So I think
Hey,
all he does is
I
water
got a
the garden.
guy to
I
come
don't
and
think
also
it's the
landscape
same
because I don't
thing,
like
so.
doing all the weeding and shit. It's too much work.
Oh, yeah, you sprinkle a little with the hose. That's nice.
Getting to pick the fruit and everything. That's
I like doing that. I go
Yeah,
out
that's
every
cool.
day and I grab.
That's
I,
cool.
when I water the yard,
Yeah.
I go to the cherry tomatoes and I just eat like a ton of cherry tomatoes.
Oh, yeah, that's
You're supposed to harvest them, not eat them.
Same
That's-
thing. So
that's
that's
not
what's
how-
harvesting.
okay.
That's the same
All right.
thing.
All right.
one for me, one for the basket.
Yeah, yeah.
What basket? Whose basket? It's mine. They're all mine. It's my basket.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Our
Thanks
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you very
It was
much.
nice meeting you guys.
Yeah.
Take care. Go eat.
Okay.
Have a
Alrighty.
great
care.
night.
Thanks. You guys
Okay.
too.
Good night.
Phil, stick around.
Bye.
Very cool.
They are cool.
Very cool. Wow. They're very shit, man. They're very driven.
Buddy, they're so damn cheerful. Like after doing all those jobs,
Oh, I
and then
think
they
they're
came on
hysterical.
with us, and
I
they're
think they're
like,
hysterical. I think they passed it. You know that wall where you hit and you kind of go over? Tears are about an hour away.
yeah.
That's way too happy.
But they're so
Wonderful.
great.
No, awesome
And
story.
like like I don't know if anyone is gonna like we're like an hour and 8 minutes in,
That's okay.
but I like these are like amazing moments, right? Like, cause just think like we kind of like rolled into the conversation, just started talking, but we've never met them before, ever.
How would
right?
I meet them?
Like,
I don't
we
even
didn't
drink kombucha.
We didn't
I
even know
honestly,
what they look like.
I
right?
really
Like,
liked. I thought they were
Yeah.
wonderful.
No, I
What a
just
great
thought,
story,
I just
too.
thought like like I think these are moments that I love, right? Like when we're doing this is
They were
you-
like
you meet
friends
people like that.
I've never
and you
met.
Just like
They're friends you never met.
yeah,
I feel like I've known them for 25
right?
years.
Yeah. Like
I
that
know.
was
It was
how
wonderful.
that that was it was really great.
That was really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that one. That was good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And they're amazing.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll try and get some of their tea for next week.
Oh, that might be a cool idea.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would
I'm
be
gonna have to go try to find it. They got a whole bunch of locations
Yeah, yeah,
close
yeah.
close to the house. Maybe we'll go do that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Alrighty, buddy boy.
All right. Thank you.
Are we on tomorrow morning or not?
No, we
No?
got nothing tomorrow.
Okay.
You got the day off tomorrow.
No, I'll
I
probably
got
talk
the
to
day
you
off. I'm
morning.
going to the beach tomorrow.
Oh, that's nice. Do that. No, I've got.
Yeah, no, you can call me. I'll be at the beach.
I've got
Like,
crap all day.
I've got the girls. The girls have brought their best friends, so I'm in the
Oh,
car
nice.
with 4 girls between 13 and 15, and a dog.
Well, the dog will be your friend. Girls are gonna drive you
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah. So anyway,
That'd be nice. That'd be a nice day.
It'd be good.
Nice to spend time with your kids.
we good. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, my friend. Go to bed.
All right.
It's late.
Okay. Ciao, buddy.
We chat with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ciao, ciao.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.